Hello and welcome to the September edition of That Saints podcast. I'm Graham Cunliffe and with me this week is Steve Beach on the buttons. Hello, Steve.
How you doing, Graham? You're all right?
I'm good. Paul Rigby's with us.
Hello guys, you okay?
I've got your name right this month. Steve Orford's with us as usual. Steve.
Good evening, Graham. All right?
I'm good. And Gaz Tilsley's back. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate.
Great. Well,
Just need a coat.
Well, here we go. September. We're going to discuss Saints' performances in August and have a look at what's coming through in September. So we'll be discussing the Saints for about an hour and 10 minutes. But to do that, the first 20 minutes are going to be taken up by Steve telling us all about the NFL new season. Darren's going to be talking about carpentry for us, and Gaz is talking about living in Spain for 6 weeks. And we might get around to Saints at the end of the show. Anyway, where are we? Last show in August we finished off a bit depressed, given the previous performances, and we come out with a 42-6 win. No, we didn't. That's the wrong one. 46-6 win.
Don't forget them, Graham. We don't. They're few and far between.
Hey, I can't remember now. I'm looking at the other score with LKR. This is the other way around, isn't it? Gaz, you watched this one in your palace in Spain, didn't you?
I did, yeah, I did. And what I took from this game, the key highlights was it was like the breakout game of Jake Burns, who was lightning flying out of dummy half and scored 2 tries. What's concerning is last few games he hasn't done that at all. Maybe he's been told stop doing that. It's exciting, stop it. Yeah, that was brilliant. Great to see him. And it's great to see these lads. In times of adversity, where it's really hard right now, we are seeing some gems coming through, which is good. And Burns doing a decent job, isn't he? He's not just filling. He's just playing well at 9.
I mean, it's a decent performance, or was that because Hull were that bad?
The performance was that was because Hull was that bad, yeah. But the other thing in that game that I took from it was Dodd was great, and Dodd scored twice. I don't think we've seen him since, and it was probably the best performance of the year. I think he'd been getting slightly better week in, week out, but he was really good in that whole game. Scored 2 great tries. But as I say, I think you're right in saying I don't think we've seen him since, unfortunately. But yeah, I do agree with you. I think that the scoreline does flatter us a bit, and Hull were awful.
Steve, your thoughts on that one?
Wasn't this the one that stopped the rot?
Yeah, it was. It stopped the 5. It stopped the 6 on the bounce.
Well, until the rot came back, as we know. But at that point, we thought it had stopped the rot. The 5. What I mean by that is the 5 games in a row we lost before that. So my initial emotion from that was relief. But I was quite positive about it because it's not been that often that we've seen Saints rack up that sort of score against anybody. I agree with Gaz's point that Hull were pretty poor, but you're still going to go out there and beat them and put the points up. So I was a bit encouraged by that. But obviously, as we'll discuss later, we've seemed to have reverted to type since then.
Yeah, Darren, Paul, sorry.
You got the name right this time.
I'm going to have to get them stickers and put them on your forehead.
Yeah. If anybody wants to sponsor badges for us, that'll be
perfect. It's difficult because, for me, all season we've done exactly what we do against London, Castleford. We've done exactly the same against Hull. We play a different type of rugby when we play the bottom teams until we play the top. Then we start playing the top teams and we change our tactics completely. And I just don't get it. I think if we stick to our tactics, every player who steps up, even from the academy lads who are stepping up now, I feel like some of the players who stepped up, even that Robinson and Vaughan, they're looking to play rugby, and if anything, our senior players are telling them to hold back and play safe, and so I mean completion rates and stuff. Where I just feel just let the lads come through, play rugby, but against the bottom teams, we do play a different style of rugby than what we do against the top, and there's no. It's frustrating watching because you can do it, but they just don't do it. And like I say, it's all completion stuff now, and what targets they've got to hit, etc., which for me is no good, because they can play rugby, and they've got the players there. Even the academy lads are coming through, and they can play rugby. Just let them play. Don't stop them from playing. But when we did turn up against Hull, like I said, we scored some great tries and threw the ball about. We look entertaining again, but that's what we want to watch week in, week out, not just one game and then 4 games back to a plain basic 4 drives.
Probably one game in 10, isn't it? That?
Exactly.
Is it the senior players, do you think, that are holding them back, or is it
Instruction.
Paul Wellens' instructions?
Possibly more completion. I think because you listen to Wellens' interviews and he's like, oh, we completed this or we did that and we did that well this week, and all we want to do is do better defence and complete. And all it is for me is stats, completion, hit the targets. So they must. Where the fans just want to say, for us, I'm not bothered what targets they hit, as long as we throw the ball about and entertained. I'd repeat myself from saying it time and time again. I'd rather go to a game and be entertained and come away getting beat 40 points to 30, but walk away thinking, what's a great game there. They're entertained from start to finish. Not, we've hit our targets, but we've done 4 drives, a drop off and a kick every single set, and we've won the game by 2 points.
Yeah, it is a noticeable problem when you look back over the season. The better performances have been against the lesser teams and we've not played.
That his style is much different from Wolves, though. Wolf won 3 grand finals.
Yeah.
And people are less inclined to criticise when you're winning. But when you play that way and you lose, you're gonna get,
Well,
it's difficult because at the time when Wolf did a great job, and yes, even under Wolf, we wasn't playing attractive rugby, but for me, all the other teams weren't great. The last couple of years, the likes of Warrington, Wigan have spent big and improved on their squads. And if anything, we've kind of kept our squad and thought we're still better than everybody else. But if we're going to be better than everybody else, we've got to play rugby. We can't just sit back and go, right, we've done this for the last 4 or 5 years, we're going to do the same again, but play a different formation or kind of tactical way and just defend, because everyone's found out now how to beat us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the problem that's come out for me this season. Everybody knows how to play against us, and we can't change our style to play against the better teams.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, we haven't got the personnel, I don't think, to defend the way the team's attacking us.
Yeah.
Getting the ball out wide quickly and beating us for pace, and we don't currently have the personnel, even when everyone's fit, I don't think, to stop that brand of rugby.
Well, it was noticeable that teams are still getting round us when we had a full squad.
Yeah.
Because it's the old Wolf slide in defence and hoping your full-back in one of your second rows gets across to the wingman, isn't it? And with the other teams of improving and being quicker, it ain't happening.
Yeah, 100%. It doesn't help with injuries, but
no,
at the same time, what my point is with the academy lads coming through, if they're taught one way, whatever they're taught in the 18s and 21s, they all should be taught the same way. And when they step up, they should all play the same way. So it's literally you're slotting into somebody else. Yes, I understand if like Wellesby's coming out and Robinson's coming in, who's done a great job, you're not going to have the X factor straight away that you're going to have of Wellesby. Don't get me wrong, down the line, I think he will be a fantastic player, but he still should play the same way as what Wellesby does.
Yeah, agreed.
And same with prop forwards, back rows, etc.
Okay, so we stopped the rot away at Hull, and then we had a reasonably quick turnaround, I think, for a Thursday evening game against Salford on the 8th, which ended up Saints 17, Salford 16. I think this was our first Golden Point game, wasn't it? Was it Golden Point?
Of this
Yeah,
season.
Golden Point.
Of this season, it was.
Yeah,
I
this
think
season,
so.
yeah.
We made us feel by a point earlier in the season at home, but it was before the end of the
Before the end,
80,
yeah.
I think they got the goal.
Yeah, the basic facts are Salford 17, 16, Saints 17, tries from Batch, Blake and Tommy, 2 goals from Percy, and obviously the drop goal from Moses and Bai, against 4 goals from Sneed and tries from McDonald and Hankinson. Again, this was another tight game because it was 16-all with 5 minutes to go, and again, I think we'd snookered ourselves with 2 yellow cards in this game, which resulted in bans. Johnny and Morgan Knowles with
He got 2 for
a wild swing,
a
at the end.
reckless swing, and
Yeah.
Johnny got 3, I think, for the shoulder to the head.
Yeah. I mean, we'll discuss cards and things later, but surely we should know by now that this is going on.
So
and
what you've got there is your captain and your vice captain.
I never thought of it that way.
That's leadership for you.
Yeah, spot on there, mate.
Yeah,
They're the guys that should be setting the example. Johnny knows what state we're in and gets himself a 3-match ban.
Yeah, it's a questionable situation, this, because we're senior players. It's almost the senior players letting us down week after week, despite the young lads coming in and being asked to fill in for senior players who were out injured. But I think the game itself, I thought was a decent game, but didn't help ourselves, and it was a bit deflating because we had to scramble to win. And
Massive though. That win's going to turn out, potentially going to turn out to be critical.
It could be
for both teams.
It could be, yeah.
And I think in the Golden Point period, we managed that really well. We were really, really composed, and we took our time. And when the chance came, Moses slotted it.
Yeah.
Which was so dangerous when you've got Sneed on the other side. But we contained them really, really well, and then took it well.
Yeah. Can I just back up what Gaz was saying before about Jake Burns as well? It was a lovely ball to Mbaye for put that over, because it's a pressure situation. As you were saying before, he's a young lad who's playing his first games, and he didn't look out of place at all. I mean, it was
but
really good.
Again, Burns got us the snap pass, and then it was Robertson got us 40 yards down the pitch.
Yeah, that's right.
For the chance.
Yeah.
But again, we'd almost snookered ourselves with having another half of only 12 men on the pitch.
I say wouldn't mind taking Neme MacDonald.
Yeah.
He's always been a good
player. Isn't he?
Yeah.
Good player.
In a time when we were in a desperate need for a centre, and Salford do like selling, he's top drawer. He just ran straight through.
Isn't he going at the end of the season?
Who, Neme MacDonald?
I think so.
I don't know.
No, he's got a couple. No, it's Lafay who's going.
It's Lafay. Yeah.
I feel McDonald's a very good player, and it's lost into any team. But I feel like he's another player who, at a lower club, stands out massively. I think he doesn't play. There's a lot of pressure on him, like there was at Leeds. He didn't tend to.
This. Is he better than Wonga?
100 times better. Yeah.
Stay if you want to jump in here.
I think Wonga gets a bad press.
And so he deserves.
I don't think he's the worst we've ever seen, put it that way.
Worst we've ever seen. Maybe not. He's not far off.
I think he's judged differently to some of the players because he's an expensive import.
Yeah.
And I think he does some things that don't help him. Like he's quite
not all
like,
on the pitch
like,
either.
Like tapping it over the line.
Yeah,
should
and
catch it.
that the nil try against Leeds, that nobody
Yeah.
could actually fathom what he was doing.
Yeah.
Things like that have given him a real, bad press.
Yeah.
But I thought, for example, yesterday, I thought he was one of our better players.
Oh no, Steve, no. A million times no. Absolutely.
And let's stay on
that
this game.
side of Wonga and Ritson was an enormous exposure.
Oh, defensively.
And they keep flying in when they shouldn't fly in, and Winger just walks in. So we're coming up to the OKR game in a bit, and we'll talk about Wonga.
Well, the system's broke, isn't it? Let's be honest.
We can talk about the system. Thoughts on that? On the Salford?
I'm not seeing Wonga at all, and I think he is one of the worst.
Your thoughts on that game, the Salford game, Steve?
The Salford game, again, massive relief, wasn't it, when that Mbaye drop goal just managed to creep its way over. As Gaz has said, it could be absolutely crucial at the end of the season if it gets us in the six, which we would talk about later possibly. And I just thought we overall just about deserved it, but as you know, I've mentioned it before a few times, not a huge fan of Golden Point.
No.
And I don't see what the problem is with the draw in a league system.
Me neither.
I get it in a knockout game, but in a league game, and if it had been a draw, that might have made the playoff race even more interesting.
Yeah.
But Salford be on one point more, we've been 1 point less.
Yeah.
So thankfully for us, there is Golden Point, and it helped us on this occasion. But generally, I'm not a big fan of it.
No, I agree.
But Salford are another team. We talk about being relieved and maybe being a bit lucky, whatever. They're a good side. Salford, they're a really good side. So that was a good win.
When they're on it, they can take
Remember,
anybody
they came to our place earlier in the season and beat us.
Yeah.
I think by 4 points.
Yeah.
I think
they beat us at their place as well this year. So they're a good side.
I think with a fully fit 13, they can take anybody on.
They've got what we haven't got right now with the 1-6-7-9 comp. They're all
good spine, haven't they?
Yeah,
all fit and firing.
Yeah.
And they move the ball about, so they're playing a style that's made for beating us.
But whoever seems to come in for the teams at Salford, they all play rugby. They're all on the same page.
The same way.
Yeah, exactly what we should be doing with the academy and stuff, etc., etc. But the Salford lads, whoever they sign, you always think, that's a bit of an iffy signing, but they always tend to come. There's not many bad signings to make, is there? And whoever does come in, like I said, they play the same formation and same attacking way, all on the same page. So it's effective when it comes off. But we've also seen the opposite side where it doesn't come off and they get pasted. But
Well, with Salford, at the beginning of the season, we were talking, would they be okay with losing Brodie Croft and Ackers and all those? And they've stood up to the test.
I think they've done well, better than Leeds.
Yeah, I mean, what they brought in have been coached correctly, haven't they? You know, to that style of play that Salford, you know, they do, which is good to watch as well.
Salford, but also Rowley.
Yeah.
He's Rowley team. When you watch the old Lee team from way back that got promoted, they played fabulous.
I think he's
really is consistent in there, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think Rowley is one of those coaches where you can say, without a shadow of a doubt, he improves players.
100%.
And I think there's not a lot of coaches you can say that about. Did they improve players that dramatically?
No. I think what Nicola did it to a certain extent, and who obviously his previous incumbent who went off to Huddersfield, who was doing it well with Salford.
He did it at Salford,
but couldn't replicate it at Huddersfield.
Watson did well, Darryl Powell did well at Cast, didn't he? But then when Darryl Powell went to Warrington, then it was kind of like that was a bit too much for him.
Is that an expectation thing, do you think?
I'm not sure, because a lot of like Darryl Powell, for example, did really well with the money and the budget he had at Castleford and turned a lot of players who had never put as Super League players turned into Super League players, very much like Watson did at Salford. But then as Watson took a step, obviously Watson took a step too far going to Huddersfield. Is Paul Rowley potentially going to take a step too far with he's rumoured to be moving on, isn't he? But you never know, do you?
Yeah. And Lingard now at Castleford, you know, okay, they've struggled early parts of the season. But sort of second or you know, the last quarter of the season, they've started really competing, and you know, well, we know that, don't we? And also, you know, there's some other teams which have you'd have thought are going to give them a good pace, and then
not forgetting Willie Peters, how much of Hull are.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've exhausted that one. Unfortunately, we have to discuss the Magic Weekend next.
Ellen Road or Saints getting beat?
I think both. I think that was the reason it was at Ellen Road.
I'd rather discuss Ellen Road, I think. But for the record, Wigan 20, Saints 0. Tries from Marshall, Farriman and Walters, and four goals from Adam Kieran. A pretty comfortable win for Wigan, I thought. I didn't think we looked like rattling them at any stage, really. And they were without Field and French on this occasion. And we still didn't trouble them.
They had 5 or 6 out, I think. Yeah,
they had Field.
They had no hookers, I think.
No Neils out.
They named Luke Thompson a hooker for that game. Because they didn't have Leeming either.
Farrell was at 9, weren't he?
Was it Farrell? Yeah. There's one game where Thompson was named at 9.
Although I don't think we bombed a couple of tries from memory.
We did.
I've tried to forget it. Because I don't. The last nilled by Wigan was
the one that stands out is the Whitley one.
The Whitley one.
Jay Field tackled him near the line. He dropped the ball over the line. That should have been a try. They should. You've got to be, more clinical. It's a good effort by Field to make the tackle, but he's got to score there for me.
If I remember right, didn't Farrell pull out in the warm up?
Yeah, he did.
Didn't he? So that was another big, sort of player that they lost there, didn't they?
Yeah, they had 5 or 6 out, but we had 9 or 10, 11 out.
Yeah. What I found frustrating was how they played Farrimond, who had a great game and scored, and we played Ben Davies at 6. And you're like, why have we done that?
That was a shocking decision, I have to say.
Why have we done that?
Why have we done that?
Chances are we're going to get beat
What's
today.
wrong with Ben Davies?
Ben Davies
so we've had one, now we're having Ben Davies.
Gaz, Ben Davies or Wonga Blake?
What?
Ben Davies or Wonga Blake?
Neither.
You have to come to later. They're on my see you later list.
You have one, are you picking?
These are
probably Ben Davies, to be honest. But
that's another podcast, isn't it?
But
that's another story.
What you call the podcast that?
When you've got like Whitby and Roberts, why didn't he give him one? I'll tell you why he didn't do it, because he went Southgate on us and he wanted to keep the score down and make sure our D's good, and Ben Davies is bigger than them, and killed our game.
Bit harsh on Southgate, but I know what you mean.
He's another one, Steve. We can do a session on him if you want. I like positive stuff.
Was there anything positive in that game?
No, but
Robertson was okay. I thought he does that.
I think he makes a lot of errors. I know he's young, inexperienced, but he makes a lot of errors. I think
he's got an error in this game, but he's going to be sort of superstar. Because you can say
you've got to give him time.
9 times out of 10 he'll beat that first man, won't he? He does need to improve in his passing game, but every time he gets the ball, he'll beat that first man 9 times out of 10. He looks exciting.
I was talking to Ed about him, and a couple of things on this. The first one was we went down to London when Jack
Yes,
Welsby
this
was
is the point.
in his infancy, and Jack Welsby was absolutely diabolical at London, and we were like, he can't play fullback.
Very true.
And the second thing, Robertson, he reminds me a bit of Shane Cooper. Why can't they can't get him?
Yeah.
He's like he's covered in slick 50.
Yeah.
He slips. He must see gaps well, and he's got fabulous feet. But he slips through like that Salford one when he went half the pitch. He's got fantastic attributes though.
I would have thought, with that, bearing that in mind, they would encourage people to support him, because he either gets
gotta
out of
follow
it.
him.
That's not
And
an
invariably-
great plan. That's not a
I
good
know.
It's a shame.
Because invariably, even though he's tackled, his hands are free, aren't they?
Always.
But because he's a fullback, there's nobody there to,
but it's
take it off.
how he does it. He's just got this thing where he just goes past people.
Snake hips.
He just
Well,
we used to call
we've seen-
Shane Cooper Slither, and he just slithers
Yeah.
past people.
We've seen 3 young lads in the last month, in Robertson, Whitby and Burns, who've all come in.
Stevens.
Stevens, who've come in.
Vaughan as well.
They've come in and they've come in dire straits, let's be honest.
All of
Would
them.
it not have been a
I
far
know what you're
more
gonna say now.
sensible policy
Yeah.
to have eased them in from day one?
Yep.
We couldn't though.
Well, they
With
could have
that
done.
catalogue of injuries.
No, from the start of the season, 1 or 2 could have.
Oh, you mean
had a go.
early?
Yeah.
Could have drip fed
think
them
he's-
in.
Drip fed them in. So
Yeah, if you're looking at an ideal world, you would, if you had a full strength squad, you could put 1 or 2 of them players in. And like I said, if Vaughan's playing inside Makinson, then Vaughan looks a completely different player. I really rate him anyway. But then he doesn't need to, instead of playing with Ritson or Wacker, he doesn't need to be shooting out, does he? Makinson's there to cover him at the minute. The players who've been brought in have been isolated because of the players around him. But if you're bringing him with a full strength squad and we're playing very well,
Yeah.
Robinson's possibly not going to play 5-6 games on the bounce. He'll play 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And exactly what Welsby did, he'll fit in on the wing. He'll play centre one game, he'll play full-back the next, and he leaves him in like that. But the way we've had it, he's had to play like back-to-back games. He has, at the minute, like I say, he's only a young lad. He's had a few errors in him, but at the same time, he's been very good to watch, and you can see he's got massive potential for the future.
And you can also see probably already that Benison can forget fullback now.
Yeah.
Because this kid's better.
Yeah.
He's got to iron out. He's got to stop dropping bombs.
Definitely.
But he will, and I'm excited about Robertson, really excited. He's got attributes that most of us just haven't got.
Was it the Huddersfield game at home where Benison got picked at fullback and got dragged off after like half an hour?
Yeah.
And then wasn't seen again for about a month.
And that doesn't help a player's confidence.
No.
I know you're not playing great, but at the end of the day, to pull a player off there half an hour, 40 minutes into a game, just let him play the game out and then give him a bollocking and tell him where to put things right. But don't pull a player off. For me, I don't like that.
I don't think he's done anything spectacularly wrong in any game that he's played.
No, he's been treated a bit harshly.
Yeah, I
He was
did.
great the other day.
Yeah, and the thing is, he's one who they have brought in, sort of drip fed in to a certain degree, and he's
Well,
managed
2
to get
seasons ago, he got drip fed in,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And he is a good addition. But
With a full strength squad there, Benison looked fantastic on the wing. He looked because of the players he had around him. But when you're putting Benison in the team that we've got now, he just looks like an average show, doesn't he? But you could have really saved a lot of money by keeping Blake at home and putting Benison doing his job this year, and there wouldn't be any difference, would there? If anything, Benison would have been better.
That's well, we'll come on to that later on, because we'll look at the new signings, etc. But generally, on that youngsters' point, there, bringing people in when you're free to do so, rather than when you must.
I always prefer to bring in youngsters like you say, one or two at a time, and not play with them, all together at the same time. And they go out there and get a bit of a hiding, and then they learn and gain not a lot from that. But the problem you've got is, if everyone's fit, are you picking Vaughan ahead of Percival or Hurrell? If you do that and you lose, what happens to you then? You get hammered, don't you?
Well, absolutely not. But
No.
there's always a chance where you've got a couple of injuries in there. So, and then when that time does come, or there's a time if we're in a situation where we have been the last few years, and we're not now, and we're guaranteed a top 6 place, and you've got a few games where you could rotate and rest a few players, and that's where you'd bring the likes of Vaughan and Robinson in.
I think
There are certain teams you could do it against for sure.
Yeah.
I think
100%.
it depends who it is. I think Stevens is probably going to warrant a place in 17.
100%.
Pretty much going forward.
Yeah.
To be honest.
If
So
you're-
Vaughan maybe not, but Stevens yes. And I think you've got to play Robertson. Even if you drop Johnny and put Jack in the halves, I think Robertson is a potential fixture going forwards.
But Johnny's got a 2-year
Stevens.
contract, though, hasn't he? So Johnny's got a 2-year contract, so I can't see them.
No, I know.
No,
Dropping a bit of time
all that'll happen next year is obviously Robinson will finish the season until Wells be back, won't he? And then I feel like he'll just fit in where and when next year
Where he can.
with the signings we've made.
Is Wellsby not due back before the end of the season?
Lee, isn't it?
Is it Lee? Well,
I believe.
if we sneak into the playoffs, that's a big addition.
Yeah.
It could be a risk playing him. If he's coming back. Is it hamstring or a knee? I think it was hamstring.
Hamstring it
wasn't
was.
Hamstring.
Yeah.
Hamstrings are,
Yeah.
hamstrings are dodgy. You've got
At
to.
the end of the day,
have 3
if he's
months
fit, you've got to play him, haven't you?
You got
Absolutely.
Yeah. Got to say in this game against Wigan, and I'm meaning from since the beginning of the season, that Junior and Semba who they have.
Frightening.
Isn't he? Absolutely. And what is he, 20 years old?
Yeah,
It's okay, it won't be there long.
It'd be NRL in a
I
bit.
was just
Pride
gonna say
themselves
that.
on losing their players to NRL, don't they? So
I can say
It'll come
Canberra
back.
Red is calling as we speak.
He'll come back to Warrington in 2 years. So.
yeah. Or it'd be Wiggins' new signing for 26.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, I thought Morgan Smithies would be back at Wigan by now, but
He's getting big raps
he's,
over there.
he's doing all right,
To
isn't
be
he?
fair, most of the forwards go over there
They do
a
all
good
right,
job.
don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But I thought did great, but still came back. George Williams. I thought he was really good
Yeah,
for Canberra.
very good.
Yeah.
But he still came back because other things play a part, other factors play a part, don't they? So
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, let's
Wigging kebabs. That's still
have a look at Saturday.
smack bombs.
Let's have a look at Saturday afternoon, the 24th of August. Saint 6, Hull, KR 42. I've put in inverted commas here, complete stuffing. Could and should have been 50 because they missed a load of kicks as well. But for the record, KR scored 8 tries, Whitbread, Tanginoa, May, Lewis, and 4 from Burgess. God, 4 from Burgess. Saints with a try and goal from George Whitby. Bright spots I've got written down here: Whitby and Burns. Once they got to a little bit of
It was bright spots.
well, I had to think of something. I thought George Whitby was a bright spot when he got a little bit of confidence in the second half. Burns, I think Burns got the chance to make it. I think he's got a bit of bottle about him.
Looks good.
Tackles above his weight. Got a bit of pace about him, and I thought he was okay. Other than that, I don't know. And I think we got another. I think Blake went off after 10 minutes for a tackle, and we lost 3 tries in the period he was off. Again with switching the ball wide against us.
It wasn't really a tackle, to be fair. He hit somebody in the face, didn't he?
it's a shame he didn't get banned and Makinson
I have
got
to
clear.
say, when we doubt the disciplinary committee and think the disciplinary committee is up to something, not banning him.
It was madness.
Confirmation.
Honestly, it was madness. He didn't get banned for that.
Anybody else gets
It was
2
a
games for that.
blatant smash around the face.
The
wasn't it?
committee's decided that that there'd be more of a punishment
Yeah.
to not give him any games. That's what happened.
Well, I did hear Mike Rush had written in saying he wanted a 6-week penalty. For
I think we should have appealed that decision.
If he had written in, he'd have got it, wouldn't he? Because he gets what he wants, doesn't he, Mike Rush?
But to be fair, the writing was on the wall from that first kick-off when
Whitby and Vaughan dropped the ball.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
And to be honest, the people who stood up in that game were all the youngsters, and maybe not from a skill point of view, but certainly from an effort point of view.
Yeah.
You've got to look at some of the
Whitby, Vaughan, Burns and Robertson all had decent games then.
they're looking all their head up wide. There's a lot of the other ones. It's one of the, as much as it pains me to say this, it's one of the first games for a couple of seasons I've actually been to the game, and I was watching, I was thinking, it's absolutely dire.
It's one of the first games you've actually been.
I've not been for a game.
And you
for
chose
years.
that one. I said to my 12-year-old Maria, today's going to be character building.
When I bought the tickets for that,
For the supporters.
it was on a Friday for starters.
Were they free?
And it was 2 months beforehand when we thought, we'll be all right here. Okay, that could be a sort of thing.
To be fair, 2 months ago, you might have thought it might be a bit close. You might not have thought we'll definitely win, but
I knew the writing was on the wall as soon as they changed the fixtures, so it was Saturday. Yeah. But,
So-
I mean, it was a
Most
debacle, wasn't it, from start to finish. It was terrible.
There's loads of things I want to mention about this game. Joe Burgess,
Yeah,
it was so easy for him.
yeah.
He was in front of us first half. He was just walking him in.
Yeah.
Because of that side.
If you give him that kind of space,
Yeah,
it's
Just
done.
ridiculous.
It's so quick.
But what frustrates us, it's a hobby horse again. It's a conversation me and Ed have a lot. Is Joe Burgess is from Ashton. He had no club for 3 weeks, and we've got no wingers. What are we doing? Look at their recruitment. Oliver Gildart from down the road, Joe Burgess from down the road, Tanguy Noah. You know, they're just recruiting.
Not from down the road.
Just no, not from down the road. No, but they're just recruiting
From Lee.
better than us. You know what I mean?
Wakefield, wasn't it?
Willie Peters just a bit like the Powell from the past. Some coaches just know a player, don't they, and spot a player. And you know,
They've done that
why
with
didn't
Broadbent
we?
as well, haven't they, for
Why didn't
Cass?
we just snatch and have Gildart Burgess? That Gildart Burgess combination at Wigan went to Australia because that's how good they
It
were.
did, yeah.
They didn't make it in Australia, which isn't the end of the world. Still means they're more than good enough for our game.
Yeah, yeah.
And we let them both go to OKR. And Joe Burgess runs 4 tries in it, and he's facing T. Ritson. I mean, just a gulf in size and in ability and class.
Speed, class, all
Everything.
that stuff.
Burgess of a
Everything.
whole since he signed for OKR. He's having an absolutely.
He's always been great, those
Yeah,
Because they,
but I mean,
create a lot of
also-
chances. It's a good team.
But he's also got, I think he's got the top centre inside him, hasn't he? Isn't Hickey one of the top centres?
He's got Hickey on that side,
Hickey.
yeah.
He didn't need it.
Failed
though, did he?
Warrington fullback, wasn't he? He failed Warrington fullback.
Yeah,
Hickey.
yeah.
And they've got
Look out,
Opicic
Tony.
there who's played for the Parramatta for years.
He's a good
And
player
you can't
as
get a game for
He
Hull
can't
they are.
get a game.
That's
yeah.
how good they are
Yeah.
in the
Who's
backs.
that, sorry?
Tom Opicic.
Yeah. We Wellington next year, aren't we?
I think though their start.
But they were
player-
all the Ritz and Blake combo. We just can't start that again.
It didn't
Just
work.
don't do it. If you examine the opposition coach, even my little one who's 12 said that today. But from what I've seen so far, they should just do bombs because we keep dropping them. And when you're not doing bombs, run down that side because they're useless. She's 12. It works.
Oh dear. Oh God.
So you're saying the 12-year-old could coach against Saints, that's what you're saying?
Pretty much right now. Yeah, if you're going to put them two, Ernie and Bert at centre and wing, then absolutely just do everything down that side.
But didn't we start that side with Whitby, Vaughan and Ritson defending on that side? I think I think
There was a
Blake
lot
was on
of
the other
it.
side.
There was a lot of
wasn't
inexperience.
But you know what happened, Graham? Ritson had
And then he
that
switched
bad,
Makinson
He had
over.
to swap him with Makinson.
2 minutes before
Did
half time.
Because he
swap the
was
wingers.
dying.
And then Tommy thought, I'll just go now, I'll get sent off. You know, go for a walk.
he? Yeah.
I just made that. I left with 20 minutes left. I thought, I've had enough of this.
Huh? You don't support United as well, do you?
Saints about enough.
Can we talk about that instead?
Well, I stuck it out. But I thought in that second half, either we came into a little bit and the young lads had a bit of a go, or Hull KR took their foot off the pedal at one point. But I thought they had the game won and they just...
Yeah, the Mikey Lewis May
what a player.
combos.
Yeah,
that-
oh, it's-
May's good
Oh,
enough.
yeah, how good
Yeah.
were those two?
Good
how good were
recruitment.
those two, yeah.
I think May is very underrated in that. I know Mikey Lewis is getting a lot of plaudits and he's good,
Yeah.
but I think May, when you look at some of the stuff he does,
Well, that try he scored, he threw a dummy and three of them went into the south stand and he was showed under the sticks.
That was awful.
They've got players all over the park, haven't they? Like you said before, they've got Hick, who's was a failure at Warrington. He comes to OKR and now he's playing his best
Yeah.
rugby. Well, he started on a full-back and then he had Evels, didn't he? So he put
That's
him
right,
centre.
yeah.
And now,
Evels.
like I said, he's keeping out
Pace.
that Opicic, Sean, Gildart as well.
Yeah.
You've got 3 or 4 players playing for one or two positions.
yeah,
haven't
and
you?
you look
Jack
at
Broadbent as well.
You look at Evels.
Super player.
Evels, really, you could say he's a bit of a journeyman, but again, he's another one who's having a.
Proper quick stick.
Oh, is he ever? Is he? And that's what always has been. It's always a bit dodgy, and always was dodgy under the eyeball. But that seems to be out of his game now. When
They've got a very workmanlike pack, but they've got 2 players in that who, for me, are top notch in
Minchella.
Yeah, I'd like
Minchella at the 13.
He's one of
is
the best
a
in the
proper
league, I
player.
think, Minchella.
Proper player. And
Tanganoa.
but he only comes on, doesn't he, at change. I think the hookers...
What a sub to have.
Oh, they've got two.
What a sub to have.
Parcell
Jez
and
Litton and
Parcell.
Jez and Parcell
Yeah.
are top quality.
Great combo.
Yeah, great combo. And I
And
think...
they're all recruitment them. They're just all.
They didn't bring him in.
Yeah. And the Willie Peters.
Is it Mickey Lewis the only one they've...
He's their own.
He's their own, yeah.
Parcells leaving at the end of the season. He'll be for grabs.
Surely the NRL will. If they've come for Dodd, surely they'll come for Lewis. I
But they've put him on a big contract, though.
They might have done.
think
And what might put the Aussies on
I think
is
it's something like
fees.
I think
it's a
it's
4
an-
or 6 year contract.
They have put on a long term,
Yeah,
put the money in Austria. I think.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And his beachfront
Yeah.
apartment,
Yeah.
better than his.
And didn't
dockside
It's
apartment.
not as good as Westall. sorry.
didn't Brody Croft have an 8-year contract at Salford?
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
true, yeah.
It just makes clubs pay a fee, doesn't it, effectively?
I just can't see how the Aussies will. Like if if they're coming for Dodd, sure they'll come for Mikey.
Yeah,
Lewis.
I agree with you, though. Yeah.
As an aside, lads, well, just not talking Saints for a minute. have KR got the cojones to win it?
For me, no.
I agree.
I think they might just
Yeah,
fall short at some point. But
that's where I agree with Steve.
I fear it'll be that other lot again. They'll just have too much nous for him in the end.
Yeah.
I think it's. I'm more confident than that. I think full. And we're in a collision sport. Depends who's fit. If they've not got Bevan French, Wigan's a completely different team. But if they've got everybody fit, I think they'll win it because they're better than everybody else.
Depends where KR finish for me. If all KR get a home tie in that
In the semi-final, yeah.
I think they'll go there, and I think they'll do it. I do. I really do. If they, but the only issue they've got at the minute is it 8 on the bounce of one now.
Yeah. So it's got to come up.
They've got to have a loss or something. They can't keep that. Hopefully they do.
They should have lost to us. They'd have been better off, wouldn't they?
They've got Wigan away coming up. That's going to be a belt.
Well, that's the
that'll be brilliant that Friday.
Yeah.
That's this Friday's game.
So basically, that's the hub cap. The next sealed whoever wins.
It'd be
that.
brilliant if OKR can go there, win that, win the league leaders shield, and then take it for an Instagram final.
I think everybody'd like to see OKR win, wouldn't they? Well,
We've got to see somebody else win it.
It's not going to be us, it won't be.
Yeah. And if we can't win it, then
Since it's not going to be us, I'd love to see OKR win it.
yeah.
Because at the beginning of the season, if you remember right now, I said I'd just love. Would they been able to see all the games now? I love switching on an OKR game or a Salford game because you were entertained.
I like watching OKR against Salford.
Oh yeah,
They played Friday, didn't they?
I
Good
wouldn't
game.
mind. We're not going to be anywhere near it. I wouldn't mind OKR Warrington grand final. I think Warrington are playing some good stuff.
What about Warrington, actually?
Warrington, they're very much fall off the cliff, aren't they? They get to the big stage and they just fall. But I'd rather Warrington there than Wigan.
I was going to say, if any team,
That's a different question.
if any team's going to fall short, it's going to be Warrington. Isn't it?
Yeah. I can't see past Wigan.
Oh, I think OKR beat Warrington, but I don't think
They
they
beat
would
Wigan.
struggle against Wigan in a final.
But do you not think they'll learn the lessons off what's happened in the Challenge Cup final last year, the semi-final this year? Was it the semi they got knocked out?
I think but Old Trafford is a different kettle of fish.
What they'll
No,
need
I
to
get that,
they'll need to go for it.
Yes.
They've been going for it all year.
You
Don't
look
get
at-
Don't
conservative.
freeze. Don't start playing conservative.
Yeah.
Go
If
for
you
it.
look at Wigan, I know they're a different team, like you said, without French and Field, but the way they play are very similar to how we play, and it's very boring. Wigan, they've just got a few X Factor players. Marshall, Field, French make a break, and no one's catching them.
Yeah.
You look at the grand final last year against Catalan. Was it Catalan last year?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Boring
It was a
game.
terrible game, yeah.
Terrible
It was
game.
there for Catalan's
Yeah,
sake, but
it was.
Catalan didn't play rugby. Catalan normally play rugby, and for some reason they went on completion to set a six, and took it to Wigan, but not playing rugby, just down the middle.
Well,
I thought the game was there for Catalan last year to win.
I think coaches against Wigan in finals tend to sort of worry about Wigan rather than play their own game.
Yeah, that's what I agree. But what I'm saying is now with OKR and even Warrington, if they get there, Burgess and Peters aren't fussed. They're happy to play rugby, and that's their brand, isn't it? And they stick with that brand, whether they're playing the bottom teams or the top teams, and it works for them 9 times out of 10. Where a lot of other teams, I do include Wigan in that. Wigan do change their tactics depending on who they're playing.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay, right. Well, let's have a look at yesterday's game. Huddersfield Giants 10, Saints 18. I don't know where to start with this. It's a win. It's 2 points. That's a bonus. The rest of it was pretty shoddy for me.
It was a good job they got a man sent off.
Well,
that
I'll
was
come to
key.
that in a sec.
The result could have been a lot different.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't great. Tries for us from Johnny Lomax, Sione, and Harry Robertson. His first try for us. Tries from Huddersfield. I can't remember who scored them. I must have fell asleep.
Bibby
in
and
that bit.
Wallace.
Bibby and Wallace. Yeah.
Wallace. Oh,
He had a-
lost somebody.
He had a
hadn't
shocking game.
Nightmare, didn't he?
And at 39 minutes, Fenton somebody.
Benson Rogers.
Fenton Rogers. Remember his first name. Was sent off for. I don't know whether it was innocuous
It
or
was a high tackle.
It was a high tackle. Was it?
I didn't think it was a shoulder. I thought it hit him with his arm.
I thought it was another.
It was
he
that
bounced
part,
off.
wasn't it?
But it was head
it's not good for
contact, and
radio,
that's-
but
He bounced off another
Obviously.
defender, didn't he? Yeah.
It was like
These days, frowned upon.
it's like the front part of the shoulder. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
at which point we were 10-6 down, I think, and not looking great. We've had a decent first 20 minutes, and after that we'd fallen off a cliff again. And I say, fortunately, they got a man sent off, and we managed
Without
to score
goal.
2 tries.
I think if that man's not sent off, it could have been different.
I don't think we win that game because they got a roll on, didn't they?
They had a roll on.
At the time when he got sent off was the worst possible timing.
But as well as we defended our way to a win.
Wellens was happy with that, to be fair,
Happy with
weren't he?
I think he's the only man in St Helens who was happy with that.
No, and then the Sione did well, didn't he? Because his try was pretty much a single person effort where he went through about 3 players.
Well, I think a fit Sione is
we're relying on that though, aren't we? Because it's not going to come creative.
Unfortunately, that's what we're relying on, either a break from him or Walmsley when he's on. Or
I thought Worms did a bit of a stinker, to be honest.
He did.
Certainly his second spell was dreadful.
Yeah.
And that bit with Harry Robertson.
Oh, he just handed him the ball and he dropped it.
And I thought, is he going to turn around and lambast Robertson? Because he did nothing wrong. I thought he was a decent enough pass.
I was sitting there thinking, is our crisis of confidence with our senior players? Not the youngsters coming in.
Do you know what? You could be right there.
Well, Wellens come out and said that the other week, didn't he, and changed his mind halfway through the week.
Well, there is that.
Changed it back.
Yeah.
I'm not calling these players now. I'm going to go back to what I first said.
I thought you were going to say halfway through the interview.
Yeah, there's something amiss somewhere.
Something doesn't add up for me.
I don't have any inside knowledge on it at all, but something just from the outside doesn't look right in the relationship.
The players aren't not interested, but the players aren't.
They're not on board for me.
No, there's just something missing. Yeah. It's frustrating as a fan watching, but you watch the teams Wellens has played in and played for, you look, and they're all play attractive, entertaining rugby, but for some reason the last 18 months it's been boring. Absolutely boring.
But it's Wolf Light or Wolf Part 2 or Wolf
I think it's
2,
Wolf Light. I do think it's Wolf Light,
yeah.
But without the personnel to make it work.
Yeah.
Without
Because now,
the personnel who make it Wolf heavy.
But now you've got a mixture of inexperienced players who aren't quite, got the right level of, quality maybe at the moment to do the job, and players who are a little bit over the hill sort of thing. So you've got not enough players who are like, at the very peak and able to compete at that level.
But it's also what you're being taught, isn't it? Because if you're told to play a certain way, if you're told to go out and entertain and throw the ball out, even though we have got injuries, we have players who can do that. And the academy lads who are battering teams week in, week out in the academy come up. If they play the same way, surely they will adapt to that. I'm not expecting us to go out and beat teams 30-40-0 with the team we've got at the minute. I'm expecting to be entertained a bit more than what we are.
But that's where the difficulty comes for these young lads who are coming into the first team at the moment, where they're used to trashing teams and playing open, attacking, flowing rugby, and all of a sudden
they've got a free.
They stand in the first team and think, "What am I doing?"
But that comes from Wellens for me. It's the interviews. They come out and they'll say, "Oh, we were impatient. Oh, we tried to score on every play." We don't try to score on every play. I mean, that's absolute nonsense. We don't try to score on hardly any players.
We're not going to score from a drive or a drop off.
Dropping it inside.
It's like he puts that, every error down to us being impatient.
He had to go at Robertson for letting the Marshall run in for that try at Magic. But what Robertson was the one trying to get to him on the wing, so he couldn't turn around and stop him once he'd gone past him. And he bagged him for that.
Is that the one where Tommy didn't cover himself in glory on that side as well? Possibly, I think. Yeah.
But some of the top players then are over trying, like the Atkinsons when Percival's played. They over try, and I'd put Knowles into that bracket where Knowles has got a mistake and error in him or a sin bin in. Where sometimes in Matty Lees they'll over try then to try and compensate through him, and it doesn't really work for us.
I think
it's just a style for me. It's just frustrating.
And on that, it's all right saying, well, he's just playing wolf ball or whatever, but he was also there for Holbrook, and during his playing career, he's played under so many great coaches. You'd think they'd be taking the best off the Daniel Andersons he's
coached under Wayne Bennett as well at England, hasn't he? Sean Wayne.
You know what I mean? He's seen the very best.
Wolf. Isn't the same thing
yes, it is. Wolf ball, sorry.
Same thing with Cunningham, wasn't it? He played in some great teams, playing expansive rugby, but when he took over, all that was like out the window, and let's play it safe.
I feel like Cunningham was pushed into that job more than he wanted at the time.
Wellens
has actually built up his CV over the last 5-6 years under some very good coaches, where I did feel it'd be a bit different this time. But even though Wellens will go back to what Fraser does on the training field, why? He's the head coach. Trying to override it, but it's not working. Wellens says this isn't working. Go back to plan plan A, plan
Yeah.
B, whatever.
But the thing is as well,
He's the manager.
We go on about Wolf Ball. The thing is, they're not even playing Wolf Ball good enough now, are they? I mean,
they
the thing
can't,
is,
yeah.
the thing is, okay, it was defensive under Wolf, but it was damn good defensive in the sense of restricting teams to that area. We're not even getting anywhere near that. So consequently, like we're going about teams, just playing the ball and running around us. If we can't even get the defensive side, which we're supposedly so good at, right, on the other side of that, we've never been, sort of, certainly of late, never been a decent attacking side, sort of. You're going to come under the same sort of scrutiny and issues, aren't you?
I think.
Go on, sorry.
The Warrington game in the Cup, I think, was a watershed moment.
Yeah.
I think before that, our defence was pretty good. We had a really good record.
Yeah.
I think that was the game where they sort of found a blueprint for beating us, and other teams have copied it.
Yeah, somebody said to me when we were winning all this stuff, I can't remember who it was now, that you play like this, you've got to win.
Yeah,
Because if you don't, there's nowhere to go.
Well, it sounds like you're sore losers and you only want to watch Saints win. It's not all about winning. You just want to watch an entertaining game. I'm not bothered if we, like I said before, go to get beat 40 points to 30, or go to the old-fashioned way of Saints. You're going to score 5 tries, we'll score 6. Have that mentality, but we've had none of that.
That's who we are. We used to be called, not too long ago, the entertainers. That's our culture, that's our heritage, that's what we're about, and then
And
it's
now there's no
gone.
entertainment in it.
No, it's gone. It's gone. I think another thing for me, I always think when a team's flying and doing really well, and the morale's up and the coach is great, nobody's injured.
Yeah.
Nobody's injured at OKR.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We had in our flying years of our 4 in a row, nothing like now. And I think, but if somebody's not happy and they're not suddenly and the culture not quite right, suddenly we've got 10 injuries. And it's constant, isn't it? Well, that one's fit, well he's injured now. That one's fit, well he's injured now. I just think there's definitely a correlation between a team with a good team morale, good team spirit that's flying, and no injuries.
Yeah.
And
Well,
we're the opposite right now.
The morale point of view is you will get from winning more. You know what I mean? They work hand in glove in that respect. And the opposite happens. Otherwise, you get those length of losing streaks. And you're going to go down the pan to a certain extent. What I can't understand is something we were touching on earlier. The young lads who have come in, I mean, surely they're being trained, their games are being coached in the same fashion as what, we're talking since, first team are. Therefore, why aren't they as adept to, inverted commas, wolf ball, as we were saying? Because they're trying their hardest, I know, but is it one of them where, like we were saying a bit earlier, that the other lads, the sort of the old heads are trying too hard, therefore we're getting penalised, these, shooting off the line and getting penalised that way, like some Morgan Knowles, Matty Lees and other going in, head-high tackles and different things that.
I think they play completely differently. They certainly have. I've seen a few reserve games, a few academy games. They don't play like the first team. Yeah. Which is
that's strange.
They play entertaining rugby.
Play entertaining
You
quality
throw the ball
rugby.
around.
You want to see the crowds for a reserve game?
The wingers scored tries in the academy.
Yeah, but he was talking after this game, Huddersfield game. It's great to get our identity back. And I'm thinking,
what?
Yeah, and I was thinking that's no sense.
You said that. Well, said that.
Yeah. About 6 times.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I'm thinking, hang on, that for me was schoolboy at times, and I know I keep coming out saying that, but I sound like I'm being derogatory to schoolboys, with some of the stuff that went on.
I think they're told that. Like, Whitby came in, and it went to him at last tackle, and I'm like, please don't put a bomb in. And sure enough, boom, up it went. It's like, right, you're in first team now, George. Last tackle, bomb. Forget all the great stuff you've been doing. Last tackle, bomb. And it went up as a bomb, and my heart sunk.
He probably got told off for that try he scored against Hull.
That's a frustrating thing, isn't it? We're laughing about it. That's probably what they're being told.
Yeah.
Because you can't. It's just so frustrating watching. And like you said, you see some of the lads. I don't watch many academy games, but the games you do see in the highlights, you think he's got potential. And the way then they step up to the first team, you think, I've not seen anything what they've shown the last few weeks.
No.
There's no better example than Dodd, is there?
Yeah, 100%.
Dodd was like amazing.
In the
And
academy,
over time, just had it all drilled out of him.
But is that one of them where you're stepping up and you're playing against A, more experience, and B, older players in that respect?
I don't think so, because in the reserves are playing against open age, so they've got the
I'm
experience.
sorry, I know we've mentioned this about Dodd before. I feel like Dodd has been under a bit of criticism because Mbai plays exactly the same way. Everyone's like, oh, Mbai is a breath of fresh air. He plays exactly the same as Dodd does, and just because he's a different face,
It's just a bit slower.
Yeah, exactly. He can kick the ball a bit higher, but for me, there's no. It's what they're being taught. He comes in and plays exactly the same way as Dodd. The last couple of seasons, Dodd's been under the spotlight.
I'm not convinced it's what they've been taught. I'm convinced it's what they've been told to do.
Possibly, yeah.
Rather than play what's in front of you.
Yeah.
We certainly don't play what's in front of us, do we?
We don't, because anyone can defend 4 drives to drop off in a kick. It's literally what they're doing all week because they're at Cowley and God knows what they're doing, but it's...
4 drives and a kick. 5 drives and a kick. Yeah. All right.
It's not A-level woodwork, is it?
and the bomb isn't like a Mark's Need bomb or
No,
or,
there's not got that quality
an
on it,
Abdul
has it?
bomb.
No.
It's a dolly.
Yeah.
All right, let's just change tack a little bit. And I know we've got a lot of injuries, and there's reasons for that. But discipline. I've made a note of speaking about discipline, but you mentioned about the proliferance of cards, didn't you, coming out recently?
Well, I meant across the whole league.
Across the whole,
it's become a big topic again, isn't it, this last couple of weeks?
Well, I had a look into this the other day, and we are not the worst, apparently. Apparently, Wigan's record is worse than ours.
Is it?
But not by much.
They've got more red cards than us.
More reds and more cards. I don't know if they've got more
total
reds, but they've
cards.
got total cards, yeah. So I'm just wondering what your thoughts are. Is it a referee and a consistency, or is it the video ref, or who's getting involved more?
I think the consistency of decisions is an issue, but largely, in terms of Saints, I think a lot of the time it's because we don't learn the lessons, and some of our players, like Makerson one last week, he jumps off his feet, and although he does try to wrap, as I said before, you're going to hit him with your shoulder if you
Of course you
come
will.
off your feet. The Knowles one against, was it Salford? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
To me, that's just
Big
reckless.
swinging arm, reckless.
Absolutely reckless,
Yeah.
and that's in his game for me. He's that
Well,
sort of
he
player.
got 2 game
If
ban
he
for
wore cherry and white, I think we'd be calling him a grub, basically.
Oh,
'Cause
Stephen, wash your mouth out.
He is reckless for me.
Yeah, he is
so
sometimes, yeah.
There's a bit of that about it, but yeah, I mean, you see red and yellow cards now where you just, because the way the rules are now, you've got to avoid head contact at all costs, and a lot of the time, intent is irrelevant.
Yeah.
So,
I think
most
we
players
can see that from
across the league have failed to adapt.
this weekend's game. That the intent is right out of it. 'Cause I thought Paul Vaughan sending off was no intent in that, and I thought the lads who
But
against
they
us,
doubled down, giving him 3 games for that.
yeah.
Just got 3 games, both of them.
Who?
Both Vaughan and the lad from Huddersfield have both got 3 games.
Rogers as well.
Yeah.
For effectively, I think it's accidental head contact. So if that's going to be what's going to happen, then we need to learn, and we ain't learning.
I think Vaughan, not
That's
Vaughan,
the
sorry.
whole season for them.
I think Rogers did swing his arm a little bit,
Yeah.
so less sympathy with him than I have with Vaughan. I thought Vaughan kind of, like you say,
I wasn't sure about
he
that.
was
But
sort
also
of
the
deflected into it,
the
wasn't he?
players are falling as well, aren't they? So you've got to
That's
take
a
that into
huge issue,
consideration.
yeah.
If the players stood upright
Yeah.
and someone clobbers him, I understand. But if the player's falling, you've got to take that into consideration.
But that one you're on about with Vaughan, he was going down, and yet he said to him there was no mitigation. Well, surely if the player's going down, like you said, there is mitigation. And that should have been not sorted out right at the beginning of the season. What is mitigation and what isn't mitigation?
We started off with that incident at Warrington with that old player, didn't we?
Yeah.
He got
The
red
clash
card.
events.
Yeah,
Yeah,
clash
that was a
events.
joke. Then we had like a month where it was nothing, and then now it seems to be back into the season.
Yeah.
Red card every few minutes.
I mean, if we have this still going on when we get to the playoffs, the grand final, we're all debating who'll win the grand final. It could come down to a red card.
Well, like Burgess said, I totally agreed with his interview the other day. He was spot on. Like you said, you're ruining the game, and if you get to a grand final, you're not concerned. You're not thinking of who's on the pitch. You're worried more like who's missing.
And the thing is, well, we bang on it, been doing it months on months about, okay, we've got to accept it, like Steve says, anything that touches the head these days, we're trying to get that out of the game, which is correct.
Fair
we
enough.
play well for, but the thing is, there's got to be consistency.
Yeah.
And it just,
It's not.
there's
Far
not.
from it.
Well,
Far from
I
it.
reckon I could watch any Super League game of a weekend and pick out 10 tackles that should have warranted a
Yeah,
yellow card
I
or
agree.
a red card.
But they just
They've
pick
got
and choose
nothing.
what they want.
They've got nothing.
Is this to do with the fact that, in some cases, the player...
Morgan Knowles isn't involved.
He's not involved. No, the player that gets hit...
Gets up and carries
he
on.
gets up and carries on, it doesn't get noticed and doesn't get reviewed. If he stays down, whether that's, whether he's being genuine or whether he's, indulging a bit of gamesmanship, whichever, it gives him time for the review to take place, and that's when you start seeing the cards.
But what we are seeing now, and I've not seen for before, certainly this season, you get all the players throwing their hands up.
Yeah,
in
there's
the air.
loads of that.
And
Yeah.
I'm thinking, what are they doing?
Yeah.
There's like 6 of them throwing their hands up, as if it's an attempt to get the opposition player binned up.
Players stop. Players completely stop now. They play the ball now. People just stop and just wait for the
Lie
referee.
down.
So, yeah.
I mean, in the old days, if that sort of thing had carried on, referee would have dragged that player to one side and absolutely tore him a bigger backside, wouldn't he? For acting the way he is. I mean, there's none of that now.
If they're not sure, just put them out a report and let them
put it on
decide.
report.
But don't ruin the game for the people.
Or do it
who's going.
retrospectively.
People are going to get annoyed and people are going to stop going. I'm not saying, you look at the attendance from Huddersfield away, second game of the season, I think there was like over 1,300 that went for St fans compared to this weekend, was it just like 580?
Yeah.
It's like half, and that's less than half. And I'm thinking that's not just because of the way we're playing rugby, it's the way rugby's going as well, because people are getting annoyed and frustrated because they're going and you're not watching 13 players, 17 players. You're always guaranteed that someone's going to get red carded or yellow carded.
But is this not a mad panic from the situation with Goulding and Fozzards and the legal action?
It probably is.
But at the
We
same
can't
time,
get away from it though, can we?
when they signed up to play rugby, you know what you're in for, and that's it's a tough one. You sign up, you know rugby's a tough game, and at the end of the day,
well, I'm not saying it. I'm just saying it's
instincts.
possibly that the insurers are now saying you've got to make sure that your protocols and systems are
well, that's
are
why you
absolutely-
also have insurance.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So it's probably commercially driven.
And the thing is, we're not a crack this side of the world. We're not a cash-strapped sport, are we?
No.
At the end of the day, so they've got to be careful. And I understand that, but there's got to be, that sort of balancing out where you've got to make sure that the game's entertaining. So you're going to get eyes and bodies, sort of watching it and turning up to the games. And if you're going to go over the top and be ultra secure, then like Paul's just said here, there's.
But the rules are changing again for next year, aren't they? I think because we did this year. The start of this year, we looked at what they were
It's
doing.
supposed to be
They put it back a
armpit
bit.
next week. Next
Is
year,
it
isn't
armpit
it? It's
or-
supposed to be, and in the
And
amateur game.
then it'll be below belly button.
Well, in the
and
amateur game,
above.
we're on about the amount of things you can turn around and say, "Oh, that's a penalty. That's a penalty." They've been doing this a full season in the amateur game, and trust me, all the games that I've watched, there's been loads that have been, there's been a high tackles, and when I say above the armpit, and just not been penalised.
if that's the case for next year, then Knowles and Matty Lees might as well
Oh
retire.
yeah. And
They'll spend more time off the field.
The thing that got penalised, right, again, same as the likes of the professional game, the thing that got penalised and hammered at the beginning was to play the ball. And that got, for the first 5 or 6 games that I saw, and I was watching different, it wasn't the same team all the time. Also, you could see, sort of different players' attempts at playing. And you looked at me and thought, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's probably a better attempt than, some of the others. And I think, nah.
You just want consistency, that's all you want. And at the end of the day, you've got to be clever about it. Like I said before, if the player's falling, it's a different matter for me. If the player's stood up and someone tries to take the head off or the shoulder at the head, then fair enough, they know the rules. But just be clever about it, because at the minute, every single game now has been affected by the referee in the middle.
Yeah.
I don't know about anybody else, but watched the majority of the Magic Weekend games, and I thought that was the worst Magic Weekend we've had in absolutely years. The standard rugby as well. The standard rugby was so poor. But unfortunately, if we keep having to put up with that and the referees making their own decisions in the middle of the field, then it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, because you look, like you say, look at the decisions that are being made now. Why weren't some of them decisions made, sort of round 3 or 4 or 5, which there were, those types of contacts, after that furore of the first couple of weeks had died down, it was still there. So if it's, it is, and we do it every year. They'll fetch a new ruling. They'll hammer it for the first few.
It's only going to get.
And it dies away.
It's only going to get more so, like Steve said. Armpit next year. Who knows? 3 years time, everybody's got to wear an helmet.
Yeah.
It's only going to get more so as you're in this environment. Unfortunately, of claims.
Yeah, and all it will need is one big payout on a claim, and then it'll go. Wow,
Well, the insurance
hang on,
thereafter will
change
be
everything.
Yeah.
The gates will open then, and the
Oh,
game
well,
will get wiped out probably
Yeah,
on a professional level.
Yeah. But same as Paul says, I agree. I mean, you know what you're signing up for. Do contracts needs to change? You know, for the future that. Like the next contract you sign, part of that contract it says
I'm surprised
you
it's not been in
understand
place
this.
already.
you
But
probably
the other issue is
They
we can't,
probably will, Steve. They probably will.
we can't afford to be seen as a game that's unsafe and that causes things like dementia and CTA and all that because parents just stop the kids from playing, and then we've got no players in the future. So that's one of the things I think they're worried about.
yeah.
I still think it's it's a massive balancing act, isn't it?
It's difficult. It's difficult. But let's move on to depressing ourselves for the future of the game. We've got 3 games left, I think. Wire away, Cass at home, Lee away. Are we making the playoffs, lads? There's the $64,000 question. I think Gaz is busting a gut to tell us all about this.
Yeah,
You've still got some more points about OKR, haven't you?
my answer to that question is yes. But it was going to be yes.
Oh,
anyway,
here's the
wasn't
question.
What?
Here's the question.
Are we going to make the playoffs?
That one, yeah.
So that you got, I've done some
Extensive research.
some
by the look of it.
research, and I've put all the games in for the next 3 weeks.
All right.
And basically, you've got Saints, Salford, Lee, and Catalan
Yeah.
playing for 3 places.
Yep.
You ruling out Leeds? You ruling out
I'm
Leeds?
ruling out Leeds. Let me tell you why I'm ruling out Leeds. They play
like
Hull
this.
this week.
Because Eddie told
Next
you to.
week, no. It's because he hates Leeds. Yeah.
The most arrogant club in the world.
Next week, Leeds have got Wigan away, and the last week, Leeds have got OKR.
Oh, right.
So
Fair.
that's,
Away.
that's tough. Yeah, that's tough.
So their last 2 games is Wigan away, OKR away. So you're right. You're a good point you make. But that,
But again, depending where they are, okay, or thinking there'll be 1 or 2, won't they? So they may rest players.
I don't think they're the teams that will rest them. I think they'll go full on.
yeah. So on that basis, I am ruling out Leeds.
Fair enough.
I can't-
I'll go with that.
If the league's won but before then, though, there's a case for it, isn't there?
There's an argument, there is. But I agree with Paul. I think I don't think Leeds will be playing under strength Wiggins and under strength Cape.
No.
Well, if they do, that changes things. Well, that rules out Leeds for me. I think we have to beat Cass.
I think we'll beat
and
Cass.
that might be enough.
We have to.
Haven't you said that before, Gaz?
That might be enough because we're not going to get anything at Warrington. And I'm going down club buying 3 tickets for the game in the morning. But I am telling my kids again, this could be horrendous.
Brace yourselves.
Supporter does not. If you look at the definition, doesn't say go when you're winning. So my kids are both going to Warrington away on Saturday, but I'm expecting a Perkston. Although Vaughan's good news. And Lee away could be massive.
Yeah,
but I think
agree.
I think on current form, Lee's comfortable favourites. But I've been looking at the games. I think if we beat Cass, that will hopefully be enough.
Gives us 30 points, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think 30 points will just about do it. Salford's got Catalan. That's a massive game because if Salford beat Catalan this weekend, that will pretty much do Catalan.
How many points Catalan got?
Same as us, aren't they?
20,
They're-
Oh, no,
26?
Two behind us.
Yeah, they're a few behind.
two behind us.
Yeah. So I think if they get beat by, because I think Catalan's last 2 games is London at home and
Hull,
Hull
isn't it?
away.
Yeah.
So they got a lovely
They're going to
finish.
get to 30, aren't they?
You'd think.
But I think
At least.
if the Salford beat them, I think that will probably take Catalan out, and then I think on that basis we should hopefully be all right.
Yeah, Catalan at the moment are on 26 points in the 7th.
Yeah.
I agree with Gaz, actually. I think if we get to 30, we'll scrape
We'll
6.
just get through.
No, I don't think Catalan will get to 30.
No.
I mean, they will, but our points difference is better than theirs.
Yeah.
I
No,
can't-
massively.
Yeah.
Massively.
But if you're scraping at 6, I think you go to Warrington.
You do. Which won't be any fun, but at least we'll say we qualified
Got it.
again
Yeah.
and kept that proud record going of always being there.
I hadn't thought it through that far, Graham.
Unless,
I think what we've got to
unless-
think though is, and I know it's a bit, because it's me being ever optimistic, but hopefully we do scrape in at 6th, preferably 5th, but hopefully if we do scrape in at 6th, then it's all about who have we got available.
Yeah.
And if we
Yeah.
can bring Wellesby back,
There's a few, isn't there?
Percival,
Clark.
Dodd, Makinson. Then we had a different Sirenen. Then we had a different proposition.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know,
of course we are, but
they're not going to fancy us if we can turn it with virtually our first team. I mean, we're still, Warrington is the anybody but them really, because even if we turn up with our first team, they'll still they've got the formula. Haven't they?
I think Warrington or LKR would still do us. Wigan, we'd be more confident about beating with a full team.
yeah, that's fair enough.
Because the point made before about styles, that they're made for us more than the other two.
And if we land Salford or Lee with a full pomp, we'll definitely go through them. But then it depends who's fit, though, doesn't it? They might not be fit.
And you don't want 5 or 6 players coming back off 6-week absences for one game.
If the only game they get before then is Lee away, then it's going to be tough.
Same problem, isn't it? Yeah.
But yeah, so answer to your question is yes.
Yes, you say yes, Steve. What do you say?
No, I don't think they will.
Paul?
I think so. I go along with what we just said then. Cass will be a victory against Cass, and then if we do get a head of steam up, it's so frustrating at the minute, because if we do play rugby, I do think if we put a full strength squad out in the playoffs, we can beat anybody. But it depends what we turn up and play.
Get to, yeah. I'm very much. Heart says yes, head says no.
I think we'll make the playoffs, and it just depends what comes.
Is this a bad time to remind everyone that we lost at home to Cass?
That's what I said to Gaz before. We don't beat Gaz. I think we still got that on the recording.
It's not. It's a perfect time, probably.
Because the thing is, we can't, because it's like we're all saying, really, that should be the game that we.
Well, Cass
should be a banker, but we
Cass will be D-Mob happy throwing it round.
Yeah, and are the old heads going to be sort of trying too hard again? So there's lots of, they've just got to go in there and just play a normal game at the end of the day.
We are in the fortunate position that Cass, because of IMG, all they care about is how many people are going to turn up for that last game of the season that they've got. Because if they get past a certain threshold, they'll get a Grade A licence and they'll be a Super League for forevermore.
Forever.
Yeah.
For eternity.
Whereas results on the field for Cass.
I still can't get my head around Cass getting a Grade A when they're playing a toilet. Have they got a new ground coming on or something?
I like going Cass away.
I know.
It's like it's taking
you might like it,
Knowsley Road.
Yeah,
it's
like
Knowsley
Road.
Toilet. Yeah. I love Knowsley Road.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Toilet with no roof, and everybody went to Steve Prescott's stand and could see you having to pay. It was.
But no, I think Cass. I mean, let's face it, they're going to bring no fans.
No.
And it's at home. And it matters.
And it's our last game of the season.
And it's Tommy's last game. There's so much in that game. We should have. We'll win that game.
We should be motivated. Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem.
And then we
said that about any other game this season.
Drive on to Lee next week and do them so we don't get Warrington.
I can't see us getting anything from Lee.
No, I can't.
I really can't.
Do you know what?
There's another one in it. Charlie. Recruitment.
Yeah.
Be like, why didn't we get Charlie?
Lee could be a dark horse for all of this, because they're coming good right at the time.
We are playing some good rugby
at the right time. Yeah.
And it can be one of those where if you treat them lightly, they'll sting you.
I don't think we can treat anyone lightly at the minute.
No, don't mean the whole specifically.
Lightly.
I mean anybody. That would.
They're not far wanting, are they? You get 100% out.
Oh yeah. And I mean, when you look at Leeds from years ago when they won it from 5th, you know what I mean? And maybe start to think, Leeds, look where they are. Suddenly they churned the results out and got there and did it.
But what Leeds used to do was get the squad fit for September.
Yeah.
Steve, did you actually answer the question?
First week of September, everybody's fit.
Yeah, Steve.
I think I did, yeah. I think I said that I agree with Gaz, we will scrape in, yeah.
Scrape in.
Because I think 30 would be enough, just because Catalan's points difference is miles away from ours.
Huge.
Yeah.
So they would need to win, I think, 3 games to get in ahead. They've got to beat Salford, essentially. Assuming that they beat both Hull and London, which I think they will.
Oh, yeah.
But beating Salford's a different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
If they beat Salford, I think we're in trouble.
Yes, possibly.
Yeah.
Our points difference is 192, theirs is 38.
But if they beat Salford with London and Hull to follow,
they'd have to put a lot on.
then we'd need to beat either Warrington or Lee, which ain't going to happen.
Much the same as we're going about beating Castleford. Catalan didn't beat London, did they?
They didn't until the season, that's true. London did beat them, yeah.
I think that the likely game is going to be Warrington away for whoever finishes 6th and then 4th plays 5, don't we? So
we could do with being 5th.
Ideally, we could do being 5th, yeah. Is it the highest team gets to home?
Yeah.
Steve gets home. Advantage, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
About third could change, couldn't it? Hull KR or Wigan could still finish third yet.
Well, they're 4 points clear. So they'd have to lose the last couple of games. They'd have to lose 2.
There's a 4 points between Hull KR, Wigan
one of them
and
loses.
Warrington.
Wigan v Hull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of them loses that game.
Yeah, well,
It's
one
like-
of them loses that game, it's true, yeah. Unless they engineer a draw.
I'm not being funny though, Graham. If Hull KR come third and we get Hull KR away, that's just as bad.
That won't,
If not
that won't
worse.
really help us.
Doesn't help us,
I'd
no.
rather go Wigan than okay.
It'll just mean that we won't know any Hull KR fans at work on the Monday.
That's true.
and you get in at 1 in the morning.
Oh, if you're lucky and them
Yeah.
them 60 teams not closed yet.
Which it is this weekend.
Yeah. All right, let's look for a bright spark. I've been a look around. What could I cheer us up with? And I settled on McManus's statement in the last I think it was the last programme that he's going to support Wello in his new contracts and make some signings. And it pointed to the. He didn't actually point to anything, but it's since he made that comment that we've certainly signed Kyle Feldt from North Queensland and Tristan Saylor from the Broncos and a question mark here over Lewis Murphy, but I'm told it's
Pretty much now.
much a done deal. So 2 wingers and a speedy utility back, I think. Although he's
Fab. I mean, they tried. It was on
Yeah.
that he scored last week.
I think
Brilliant.
I'm more
Full
interested.
back or a standoff, I think.
Yeah, I'm more interested in the Lee Breers situation, to be honest, because I think what we need is a change of style.
Freshen who out Librea's in could, and what they're bringing in, which I'm not sure about Felt, but in terms of pace, but my God, this second highest score.
I think Kyle Felt's a bit of a right all, isn't he?
He's the deal.
Kyle Feldt's an excellent player, yeah.
Yeah.
But the other two are flyers, Saylor and Murphy.
Yeah.
And
Murphy's
what
coming back off an ACL, isn't he? So
Well, hopefully he is.
Hopefully.
But he's had that. He's been out in Australia 2 years now, so he's over that injury now. It's been 12 months with that injury.
And he
But is he getting a game? No?
that's what we need.
Is he getting a game?
No, why? Because they've got Tupper and Dom
Young.
Young.
They brought Dom Young in when
Tupou
he was
and Young,
injured.
Yeah, so that's why.
To be fair, making someone get in over them too. So
Well, Ryan Hall went there, didn't he? And didn't do that. Didn't do that great.
It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you look at it and you think just because they're not getting over there doesn't mean they're not good players. It just shows how much quality they've got over there.
And Burgess, who you mentioned earlier, he went over there to Roosters and didn't really
Didn't make
get much of a game. Like
What Kyle Feldt is seen as coming towards the end of his own hierarchy, but he's still one of the top try scorers. He's got 20 tries.
22 games and scored 20 tries this
Second in
season.
league with 20 tries. What I'm thinking about, it's all about mileage, and has Kyle Feldt been used as a battering ram for the last 10 years? Like
No,
Tommy
he hasn't.
Makinson.
No.
Well, Tommy Makinson, God help him at the end of his career, he'll have a job at Walk. He's been like number 1 forward, hasn't he, for 10 years?
He's made more yards than our forwards.
Exactly. So, but maybe Feldt hasn't been used like that.
He's had 214 appearances and 148 tries.
So the
What, in
same.
the NRL?
The
Wow.
thing about them being the same age, pretty irrelevant if
Yeah.
this guy comes.
It's
super
irrelevant on
fit.
mileage, isn't it?
Yeah, and Tommy's been battered by this club, as has Percival.
Yeah.
Absolutely battered by our club.
And he's actually scored against Leeds because he scored for Queensland Cowboys.
Yeah, so
World
Felt's
Cup
really
championship.
exciting, and he scores like he's massive, isn't he?
Big lad.
What,
Yeah.
what they need, both of them. I mean, Percival. Well, hopefully we can keep him fit, but we
Good
need
centres.
the centres. What
Yeah,
we need.
I agree. That's got to be the next purchase,
It's
hasn't
not.
it?
I don't think we're going to retain Connie. I'd be
I
surprised
don't
if we
think
did.
so. I think
So we need a proper centre.
we're meant to be in for that Opetich, is it? Okay.
The whole
yeah.
album.
Because he's been released, isn't he?
he's been announced that he's
job.
leaving. Yeah, I assumed he was going back to Australia, but that would be quite a good pick up here.
Yeah, no. Apparently we've been linked with him, but I don't know how true that is. But it'd be
We were also
interesting.
linked with Kevin De Garma not so long ago as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Do we need anything
You wouldn't
else?
fancy Kevin De Garma back?
Would we have space on the
No, I
on
wouldn't
the
say
overseas if we did that?
No. Do we need
What
anything
about the
else,
kid
though?
Rourke at London? He's
He's a back, isn't he?
I haven't seen much of him, to be honest.
Yeah, he looks
He's
good.
scored
looks
some
good.
good tries,
Yeah.
and he's might be a real good prospect.
Do we need anything else, though?
I'd say another forward. Good big forward.
Another prop or
Yeah.
another second row? Or?
No, definitely not another second.
Start back row now.
We needed them all this year.
There is
I said we
another
needed
player
them all
linked
this
in.
year,
I've got none left.
There is another player linked, Josiah something. I've read on.
I would
there was a
possibly a halfback for me.
I think the way we'll pack next year is Sailor at fullback, Wellesby and Lomax 6 and 7. I don't think we'll go.
Well,
for
I think we'll also start playing Robertson and Whitby, though.
I think Robinson and Whitby just fill in where and when. And like I said, have good cover. Which
Does
Welsh-
Robertson look
Welsh
like a
can do.
centre? Do you think he could play centre?
He needs. His next thing he's going to do for me is bulk up a touch, hasn't he?
I think you're right.
And it's on his age.
Yeah,
It's on his age.
on the halves, but I tell you what, Johnny needs to earn his spot.
Yeah.
When you've
Yeah,
got
I agree.
when you've got Whitby's and in the background and young lads coming, he needs to be in on merit.
Absolutely. I thought he showed a lot more on Sunday, to be fair.
He was better
I
on
thought
Sunday,
yesterday
he was a lot
on
better.
Sunday. I thought he showed a lot more. And
Yeah.
he took, you could see he was fighting, even though it was just for himself. But
Yeah.
that first try he scored,
Yeah.
you could see on a few occasions.
Yeah.
But I think next year they'll line up with Lomax and Wells. But like I said,
No,
at
I
the end of
think
the day, if you've got competition for places throughout the squad, then that's better.
Young Robertson and Whitby will be chomping at the bit, won't they?
100%.
He better perform, 'cause if they come in.
Coming back to
might not go out.
coming back to your point there, though, Gaz. If we've got this as a backline, we're going to have less injuries, aren't we?
Potentially.
But because the young
We need a
lads have got
centre.
the young lads have got a chance this year, Vaughan, Robinson, Whitby, them lads then step up next year
Yeah.
with a full strength squad. They also look
Yeah.
better and they're more
Yeah.
confident going into a team instead of playing with like half and half injuries.
Yeah.
and
In his
kind of lads
perfect-
coming through.
Perfect world, where would Vaughan actually play?
Do you know what? I was very impressed with him at 9 yesterday.
Yeah, it delivered. It was good, wasn't it?
Somebody told me he's actually a second rower.
He's a
Right,
second-
yeah.
Yeah, he is
I don't
officially.
think he's a centre.
So, but he's not going to play there, is he? Because we're stacked.
In second
Second
row.
row.
So he looks
Again, it's competition for places, isn't it? So he can, if he can cover a number of
But
positions.
I think players have to be in on merit.
Yeah, 100%.
I think they have to be merit, not because they're somebody's mate or even if they're club captain.
or the highest paid captain.
I think they still have to be in on merit.
Definitely.
I say we're stacked. There's a doubt about Metalti, isn't there? Beyond
Yeah,
this
yeah,
year.
that's the big one at the moment, isn't it?
Don't, by all accounts, he's not staying. He's going back.
I've heard that as well, but I'm not.
And you know what? He's good enough.
Not from any sort of inside
good enough
sources,
to play.
just around the campfire.
I think
so
it's
to
mainly
speak.
because of his family, really, because it's been over how many years now? Is it?
Yeah.
What?
I heard he was getting a job outside
But
the
even-
game.
I've heard
Even-
the same.
I
exactly,
think
yeah.
isn't he a surveyor or something?
He's not that
Qualified
old.
or- He's qualified as something.
I think it's a knocks and injury.
What is he, about 30?
I don't think he's that
27, 28.
Yeah.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Retiring at that age? But even without him, we've still got Sirin and Whitley and Batchelor.
Yeah.
So you don't see Vaughan
Bell.
and Bell, as well.
Well, Wingfield. Well, I'm
Break into
sure
that-
Wingfield
into
can
that,
come back, yeah.
Wingfield will be like
team.
a new signing when he
Yeah,
comes back.
agreed. Yeah.
28.
28, really?
28.
So there's no age really in that respect. He's been in his prime, isn't he? There, really.
But I think Sione is him and Sirinen are comfortably better than the other two.
Yeah.
I think Whitley has not been the same since he's come back from injury.
He doesn't look much of a player to me at the moment,
No.
but I'd
But it's
argue.
also it's how we're playing. I said that we had
Yeah.
this discussion with you, my mates who I'll go with. You're playing Whitley at the beginning of the season as an outside back rower, running lines, and he scored 3-4 tries in the first 3-4 games.
Yeah.
Then we turn away and stop playing rugby like that. You can't play Whitley
Yeah.
as an 80-minute back rower as defensive and taking
Expect him to take.
He's only
yeah.
a small lad,
He's
but
not
if
big,
you
is
play to his strengths, then you'll get the best out of him.
Yeah.
Same as Batchelor. Batchelor's not an 80-minute battering ram, but we're sending him to play back to the same. So if you have them two running lines out wide, you'll see a difference with them, like we did at the end of the season.
But as I say, it's all coming back to coaching and tactics.
Yeah.
That's why Breers is the more interesting signing for me. In hopefully we're going to do something differently, but whether we do is another matter.
I think you will because it does look like they do follow the. I agree with what Paul said earlier. At the end of the day, I'm the manager. I hear what you're saying, but this is what we're doing. It doesn't look like it works like that.
No.
This is Fraser News strategy, and we do it. So hopefully that carries on, and Lee Breers comes in with some proper creative stuff because he is from the town and understands who we're meant to be, and we start playing some.
Well,
nice
he'll
stuff
come
again.
in and say, "You've been doing what?"
So, but we had a similar thing last year, didn't we, when Fraser knew went unwell and went home, and Matty Smith come in we've picked on that a few times in the podcast this year. We played a different style of rugby then when Matty Smith was in charge. But again, for me, it comes down to Welland to say if it's not working, right, I'm going to
Stop
override
it.
what you're saying, and this what we're going to do.
Because the book stops with him.
Yeah,
It'll be him
100%.
that gets fired.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I don't get fired because my attacking coach is rubbish.
Okay, chaps. Well, thanks very much. Hopefully we'll have some more cheerful news when we meet again in October. I have my doubts, but we'll see where we are in October.
just mention the reserves final.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
mate. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
This
Sorry. I
weekend.
knew there was something else. Crack on.
Yeah. No, just the reserve final is this weekend, and
I laugh at that though.
it's
you know.
Wigan. And
Wigan.
if you're a season ticket holder, it's free.
Is it well, I'm
I think
assuming
it's Sunday.
Sunday at the Totally Wicked.
Yes, at our ground, yeah.
So
I played that a few years ago, and a young guy called Danny Richardson scored a wonder kick to win it for us.
And apparently,
What happened to him?
Did
2-year deal at OKR, that's what
Yeah,
happened to
that's
him.
what
Can you
happened to
believe
him,
that?
They beat, speaking of OKR, that's who they beat in the last game, wasn't it? It was before the game, last weekend before, just gone. Which I thought was strange because half of that team are playing for the first team. Therefore, the reserve team surely is the third team. And so they've got to a final playing the third team. So good luck to them anyway.
Ah, good luck to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will we do a bit of roguing and put them on? Or we can't, can we? Because no, we won't be able to do that, will we?
Yeah, go put Tommy in. Oh, sure.
We'd have to
Surely
miss that one.
he can claim that, can't he, as one of his games? Surely, Wigan have done it, so...
We better play in the academy, lads, in our first 2 months in a minute.
All right. Well, thanks, lads. Thanks to Steve.
Cheers, mate, no problem.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you very much.
Gaz.
Thank you.
And Steve.
That's great.
Okay, we'll see you in a month's time. I'm off to get my antidepressants increased, and see you then.
Come on, my son, in at the corner. Tommy Martin, thank you very much. Lick 'em and stick 'em. Oh, he's going to the screen. What's he going for? Dear me, he's trying to keep the score down.